What is up, guys? It's your boy Lex, so welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over how the new song by Kanye West, Dolla ign and Northwest, new song called Talking, or Once Again, was made inside FL Studio. This audio file is going to be available inside my Patreon, link in the description below. So I'm sure you guys already know this. The song has 2 beats, so I'm going to first play you the first one here. I made it separately in its own FLP just because it has a tempo switch and it's gonna be hard, especially for my patrons, if I'm rendering out all the sounds, and it's gonna be time stretching because the tempo there is gonna be different from the tempo here. It's just easier to manage if it's just 2 separate FLPs. So I'm gonna start with the first one and then we're gonna switch over to the second one. So we're gonna start off with this piano here. This piano, it sounds like this. This is a hard piano that I'm getting from FL keys. I did a poll and I saw that a lot of you guys use FL keys, so I'm gonna start using that a lot in my remakes now. We then have this second piano, which is a more chill piano. This one is playing in the verses where North is coming in. I'm your bestie, whatever she's saying. It sounds like this. It's basically doing the same thing, except for a part here where it does a sort of different, more chill melody. The velocities are basically just taking a chill pill. That's just how it sounds in the song. Followed by that, we got this sample that's screaming, "You don't want problems." I have no idea where they got this from. I'm actually pretty sure that they recorded this for this song specifically. He's doing that in this song a lot, Kanye West. If I'm reading correctly, I read this on, so I'm reading this on Genius here. It says that this song is accompanied by production and background vocals from James Blake, Frank Ocean, Travis Scott, and Kendrick Lamar. They're providing background vocals. I didn't even know this. So yeah, there's no samples, it's just them. I'm sure it's happening again in the second part with Dolla ign where there's a lot of choirs. So there's no sampling in this song, at least according to Genius here. It's all background vocals, so yeah, watch out for that. So this sample, I'm ripping it straight out of the song using AI. It sounds like this. So the sample together with the pianos, it sounds like this. And then next to that we have this bass, which I'm making in Serum. It sounds like this. I'm using the sub section and both oscillators, and they're all giving me sine waves just to make bass. Yeah, and then I'm working on the levels with this LFO tool shape here to just make sure that the volume, it kind of goes down. But I'm not touching the volume of the sub to more mimic the song where the bass is, it sounds quiet, but it's also constant. So yeah, that's why it sounds like this. I have a fast distortion and a parametric EQ2, which is limiting the high end because this fast distortion adds a lot of high end. So I'm just taking it out so that it sounds more alive, more audible, but it's also not destroying your ears, and it sounds similar to the song. So that's what the parametric EQ is doing here. And the next that we also have this kick, which is doing this kick pattern. This kick pattern comes in the verse of Northwest where there is no crazy hard piano going and it's a lot quieter. So yeah, it's gonna sound like this. We also have this echo. Again, I think this is a sample like the Genius was talking about where it's one of the artists doing it. But I'm just recreating it using Omnisphere, the choirs, just because, you know, I want it to sound good. You know, a lot of the instruments in this song are actually people's vocals. So we're just gonna be doing that for improvising. So I'm using Boys Choir Soloist R. It sounds kind of goofy, but it sounds like this. Basically, the solo and the glide here are doing all the work where they're just gliding it. Again, I think it's one of the artists who did it, but I'm just using this one just so that we can have some similarity here. We also have the talking sample, which is just saying talking, just going. I got this from AI again. If we play it all together, this is what it sounds like. And then towards the end here, we have more sounds coming in. We have a bull bass, which is muting the second half of the bass, and it is coming in, and it sounds like this. This is the simple Boo Bass plugin that you find inside FL Studio. You also have this big piano. I'm getting this from FL Keys again. It sounds like this. Yeah, so I put a halftime on that piano to make it have those low menacing notes, and then I also put a Pro C2 because halftime kind of does this double stepping thing where it, like, after each and every beat it lowers the audio, the volume. So I'm just having this to just keep that consistency, because if we remove it, check it out. You see, it kind of does a step down, but if I add that, it's just a lot more consistent. You can tell that there's like decibel reductions, but this just helps smoothen it out and make it not sound as big of a step down, you know? Next we have this parametric EQ2, which is doing this shape just to mimic the song. And then if I highlight vintage to add a lot more reverb. Towards the end here, the pianos kind of start coming in a weird time, so that just to create a little bit of a trippiness. I think they're doing that to prepare the listener for a beat switch. So yeah, I just have them placed around in a weird way here, which is not how it's normally placed back there. So I'm gonna play the full thing now before we go to the second half where the Ty Dolla Sign is singing. The Ty Dolla Sign, that's right. Okay, now we're going to the second half.
2,000 years later.
All right, so first things first, we have this kick. Yeah, that's the only drum in this second half. Next that we have this saw bass, which sounds like this. I'm noticing the kick is a bit of a side chain. I don't know if it's on everything, but I'm doing this. I'm doing this because it causes just a lot of clarity and a lot of cleanliness in your beat in the mixing. I'm routing the saw bass into this channel here called sidechain, and I'm messing with the volume here using this automation clip right here, so that every time the kick hits, it has to duck down. And I'm moving a lot of the other sounds in there as well. I'm moving, I'll show you the other sounds later, but yes, just know that that's happening. I'm routing a lot of the sounds into this sidechain here using this automation clip here. You notice that when the kick hits, the saw bass does a little duck down. Actually, if I mute that and just play it on its own, it has a bit of a duck down going on. Yeah, that's just to make space for the kick. So next to the saw bass here, I have another sound, which is like a phase heavy synth. I'm noticing that when the song is playing, when Ty Dolla Sign starts singing, there's a... I'm sure you guys noticed that. It sounds like this. I'm sure you guys are noticing that this one has been rendered out and this one is like a MIDI file, and you're like, what's happening? Well, let's go through that. So I'm having two different instances of Serum making both these sounds right here. The first one here, astute observers will notice that it's been reversed. So what's happening here is I have a Serum. So I'm gonna recreate this sound using oscillator B. So let's ignore oscillator A for a second. So what that phasing is, it's basically the crossing over of sounds between voices. If we increase the voices to 11 like that, we now have more sounds. It's not just one sound. It will never work if it's just one sound like this. You see? Actually, let's lower the octaves because that's the bass notes that we're playing with in this song. You see that it's just one sound, but if I increase it to 11 like this, they now sound multiple. That's because it's cloned itself 11 times. We now want to lower the detuning to somewhere there, just to bring them in together to make it tighter. And then we want to mess with this knob here called the random phase. I'm just bringing it down to the very last one, and you notice that it's gonna have that sound now. It's gonna sound like this. But you see, the thing is, I'm not exactly an expert at this type of phasing stuff. So what I'm doing, I'm noticing that I have this effect where it's doing the go down thing. So I'm recording it into Edison right here, and then I am reversing it. So that's why you have this first one here, which is going that direction, and then the second one, which is going that direction, because I simply reversed that recording there. So that's how I made this. That's what's happening here. I have a soft clipper here just to boost the audio. And then I have a parametric EQ2, which is doing this shape. Just removing the muddy low end. I don't need that. And then I have a lav filter here with the resonance turned up because I want that slidey, that sound to just have a bit more punch. The resonance adds that because it's resonating a lot more. And then I want to take out some top end using the cutoff button here, and then some Pro C2 just to boost the sound a little bit. And then lastly, Edison here, which is recording it so that I can do the reverse thing. And then this second sound here, it's basically doing the same thing. It's the other instance of Serum I was talking about, except that it has less voices. It has almost half those. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I noticed that when the sound is playing, the second half of that sound doesn't have as much phasiness going on. And that's the way I achieve it. It's by just having that second one with less voices, because there's less voices to be phasing through, if that makes sense. So that whole sound together, it sounds like this. Yeah, and I'm also running this through the sidechain just to clarify. So this sound together with the bass and the kick, it sounds like this. So that's how I made that sound. All right, moving on, we have a crash. I'm taking out the initial attack using the fade-ins, the basic FL Studio function here. Just reverse that, and it sounds like this. A lot of the melodies in this song are the choirs that I was talking about that came from Kendrick Lamar and the other guy, I forgot who it was, but the ones that Genius was talking about, I think that's who they were on the choirs. I'm not sure who. I think it's Travis Scott. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's who it is. So that's where most of the melodies are coming from, but this is what we have. To mimic those choirs in the chorus, I'm using Omnisphere again. Boys Choir Ooze, this sound right here, and it sounds like this. Yeah, I just did that, just, you know why, to make it sound good. And there you have it, guys. This is how the new song by Kanye West, Ty Dolla Sign, and Northwest was made inside FL Studio. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This project file is going to be available in my Patreon, link in the description below. And with that being said, peace, guys. See y'all in the next video.